Alright, in this lesson we're going to take a look at some operations with exponents. Now, exponents can be very confusing because there's so many shortcuts out there, there's so many properties you can look at, and it's always best to go back to what they mean. This exponent does not mean I'm multiplying x by 4. It means I'm multiplying x by itself 4 times. So remember, these numbers say how many times am I multiplying whatever this base is by itself. So if you want to know what to do here, there are some shortcuts, but I want to show you the fundamental reason behind them. This is telling me right here that I'm going to multiply x by itself 4 times. So that's x times x times x times x. Whatever that number is, I'm just going to multiply it by itself 4 times. And then I'm going to multiply that by x times itself 3 times. X times x times x. Now what I really need to know, rather than writing out so many x's, is how many times am I multiplying this base number right here by itself. And as I count this, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this could be also written in a shorter way as x to the 7th power. Okay. Now you can see the shortcut here would have been just to take 4 plus 3 and get 7. But a lot of people know how to do that, but then they forget which shortcut to use where because they don't really understand what it represents. You can always go back to this method right here, and it'll tell you what you should do. It'll tell you the meaning behind it. Now knowing that, let's take a look at the second problem here. This is written different. I've got these parentheses. And remember, when I have parentheses, that means this 3 out here applies to everything in that parenthesis, the entire grouping. Okay? What that means is this entire grouping is getting multiplied 3 times. So let's write this. I'm going to have x to the 4th times itself, x to the 4th times itself, x to the 4th, 3 times, just like it says right there. Now if I write it this way, hey, it looks a lot like that problem right there. How many times am I really multiplying x by itself? Looks like 4, 8, 12. So this could also be written as x to the 12th. Now the shortcut is to take 4 and 3 and multiply them. But I notice a lot of students get confused on when do I multiply exponents and when do I add. And if you ever ask yourself that question, you need to go back and examine, what am I really doing? What does this really mean? How many times is that number multiplied by itself? And that will answer the question for you. Okay, now let's look at how this applies to a slightly tougher looking problem. What I'm going to do in this problem is I'm going to try and take this stuff in parentheses and do what's called expand it. Meaning, let's write it without parentheses, but so it still has the same meaning. So 2x cubed, all that stuff happens 2 times. It gets multiplied by itself 2 times. So I'm going to write 2x cubed times 2x cubed. Now I don't have any parentheses left, but I've got everything out there that goes with it. And I got this extra 3x to the 5th. Now the nice part about this is it's all being multiplied, so it doesn't really matter what order I multiply it in. Let's just grab these whole numbers and put them together. 2 times 2 times 3 gives me 2 times 2 is 4 times 3 is 12. So those are numbers I know. I can go ahead and multiply them together. Now what about the numbers I don't know? They all happen to be the same number, x, whatever that number is. So here I multiplied x by itself 3 times, then another 3 times, and then 5 times. How many times total did I multiply x by itself? 3, and 3 would be 6, and 5 would be 11. I really took x times itself 11 times. And that's what we call the simplified version of this problem.